Hello and welcome back to Tales of Lumin. Today we are talking BlizzCon yet again. This is going to be another BlizzCon Storytime video, and in this video we are discussing my day 3, day 2 of the actual convention. I say my day 3 because I do mean the third day that I was there in Los Angeles. It felt like a long time. It felt like a much longer time that I was actually there. Tell you that right now. I mean, I was away from home for 6 days, which is crazy. A much longer amount of time than most people. It's funny because I had to actually specially send the guys and girls at Blizzard Europe a mail saying, listen, I need a little bit of time to get my content up, to get it prepared, to get it ready for my channel, and then uploaded, because the upload time's also a bit. I was home like a day and a half later than everyone else. They were all like already sending mails and stuff, and I was sitting in Heathrow. Oh, anyway. My day started with an amazing buffet breakfast, which I'm not going to be talking about because, well, I think I've spoken about buffet breakfasts and food far too much already in these videos. I can't help it, okay? Big highlight for me. Food. It's always a big highlight for me. So our day started bright and early at like 8 o'clock. My day started at 7:30 because I scoped out the hotel's laundromat for the next day so that I could do some washing. Wash my socks because I didn't bring enough pairs of socks with. Which I only later realized was not true because on the last day I discovered a clean pair in the bottom of my suitcase. It was there. So I didn't really actually end up doing washing, but that's inconsequential. My day started kind of early. We tried to get to the convention center a little earlier than we did on the first day because we wanted to get into the front of the queue. We wanted to be there first. We wanted to get inside real early before all the other press members even, so that we could get to the front of the store queue. And yes, BlizzCon is a whole lot of waiting in queues. Much like the launch of Warlords of Draenor. Oh no, he didn't! No, but honestly, I haven't been sitting in the queue very much in Warlords of Draenor. Just putting that out there. I somehow managed to stay online all day long. You know, keep that precious spot. But we were there early. I spent a lot of the time standing at the entrance of the convention center talking to the Yogscast guys, stripping, and that was where I first met Dodger. She was in the queue with us, and she was just great. She was such a nice person. We had a little talk about life and stuff, and then when we were told that the doors would be opening soon, everyone kind of casually like stepped in, started walking towards the store's side, and then suddenly one person started sprinting. I'm convinced it was one of the Yogs. I don't know which one. Probably Strippin, just because he seems like the kind of guy that does that kind of thing. And then everyone just ran. Everyone bolted. Okay, because when one person does it, everyone else is going to do it. And then I was just standing there. I was left standing there. And Dodger was with me. Then she decided, okay, well, it's probably a good idea if I start running too. And I ran behind her and actually filmed her a little bit. It was the funniest thing, seeing everyone run into the store. And it wasn't that many people. We weren't that many. The press contingency at 8:30 when we went in, or a little closer to 9 maybe, was not that vast. I think there was probably about 25 of us. So we ended up running there, and all the people at the different stands, so the staff members were just like looking at us, and they were like, oh well, we kind of expected this. But it was a little bit embarrassing, while at the same time fun to see. So we got there, we got to the store, and there was no queue. There were a whole bunch of people behind the counter just waiting to serve us, and I didn't know what I wanted. They hand you this laminated flyer with the products in the store on both sides, and then they ask you to pick. They just ask you to pick right then. You don't have that 3-hour wait in the queue to try and make up your mind. No, the pressure is on when you're at the front of the queue. It really is. So I asked everyone there what I should get multiple times. I asked Dodger, I asked a couple of the other press guys, I asked Sam from Blizzard Europe, who was right next to me in the queue. I asked what I should buy for myself, what I should get for Helene, whether I should get Nero something. I didn't get Nero anything. There was nothing really dog friendly there, unfortunately. But I bought stuff that I wanted and didn't really need. I mean, that's what most things are. That's the category most things fall into, especially when it comes to conventions and stuff. I mean, you don't need another t-shirt. By you, I mean me. Don't need no, well, Hearthstone lanyard or poster or anything like that now. I buy it because it's like a souvenir. It's something that reminds me of that amazing experience that I had at BlizzCon. That's the reason I bought stuff. You know, I bought Helene a t-shirt or two. I showed you guys that in the video. I bought myself a t-shirt or two and so on and so forth. And it was fun. It was fun, the experience of standing there with all the other indecisive press people, not knowing what to do, what to buy, what to get. I mean, I think I asked the lady that was behind the counter that I was at, like, to fetch 3, 4, 5 maybe items off the shelves there, and then later she was like reprimanded. She was told, no, you are not meant to be taking those things down there. Put them back. But it was okay because I had seen everything I wanted to see already when she was shouted at, so it's fine. I ended up getting the stuff I wanted. I'm happy with my purchases. Then my note here says that the lady at the door kept asking to search my bag. She singled me out for some reason, and the funniest thing is that she always just did it to me. It was always the same woman. Okay, the same lady, and always just me. She was not meant to search my bag because I had the press badge on. So what happens is, you walk in there, you flash your press badge, which has the little silver line at the bottom, and then they're like, okay, you can go in. But if you just have the normal attendee badge, then they get to search your bag. I don't know what makes the press special. And I have nothing against her actually searching my bag, but what kind of made it frustrating and a little bit funny was that I was always in a group with press people and employees. So I walk in, what happens is, like, Sam walks in, Lowry, Helen walks in, 2 other people walk in, then I come in, and she's like, okay, sir, I'd like to search your bag. And I show her the badge, and she's like, sir, put your bag down on the table so I can search it. And then I hold the badge a little bit closer, and then she like looks at it again, and then she's like, oh, I'm sorry. Then I go in, and then maybe an hour later, I came through the same entrance, and again, she's like, sir, I need to search your badge. And I'm like, okay, it's me again, here's my badge. And then she looked super embarrassed, and she was like, sorry, and she was apologizing and stuff. These people at the convention center, the security guards, the bouncers, the people that need to deal with other people, they had really long weekends. Just say that I completely sympathize with her because she has to deal with a whole bunch of World of Warcraft players, and you guys know how those people are. Terrible. Gamers can be difficult, okay? Gamers can be super difficult. So, after the whole little store outing, most of us went back up to the press area, snacked a little bit, sat around a little bit, plotted a course. I had a Q&A panel type thing kind of early on, so I couldn't really... And this was a problem for me. It was unfortunate because they were spaced out every 2 hours. I had either a panel or Q&A starting at 9:30, then like 11:30 or 12ish, then like 2 o'clock, then like 4:30. It was a little bit annoying because I did it, and then I had 30 to 40 minutes to do something. Then I had another interview or Q&A or whatever, and that was frustrating because I couldn't fit anything in that time. So what ended up happening was I spent a bit of time in the press area. I stole some American snacks that all the American attendees and press people and Blizzard employees told me to take, like the Pop-Tarts, like the Cliff Bars, like the other things, Hershey bars, those peanut butter ones. Can't remember what they're called. But I every time I went there, I was told by someone else that I ended up talking to for a little while that this snack is good, that snack is good, this drink is good. I managed to stay away from all the drinks like the Mountain Dew and that stuff. I don't know. I can't do fizzy stuff. I just can't. I also didn't have any coffee earlier in the day. I didn't want to peak too soon. I had this conversation with someone at the coffee table. He was saying like, yeah, you're doing the right thing, man. You're doing the right thing while he was pouring his own coffee. He was saying, you're a wise fellow. Because me, I'm going to be done for at like 4 p.m. And this was early in the morning because I am just loading myself full of sugar and caffeine. And that's not good. He was absolutely correct. I felt okay, throughout the day because I took it easy. I only started drinking coffee a little later and it was really good. They had Starbucks coffee there, which was reasonably tasty. Not proper coffee, not instant coffee, not... Well, I've nothing against instant coffee. I actually, in some ways, prefer instant coffee. Anyway, Starbucks. That was it. Lots of American snacks. That was also it. I brought a lot of them home to share with my wife. Then, throughout the day, we watched a couple of different finals, because this was on the second day. It was, I guess, mostly focused on tournaments. So, I ended up watching first the Hearthstone finals. That was with Tiddler Celestial and Firebat. It was not the best set of games. There was like a 3-0 or 3-1 or something, and I really didn't even enjoy watching them that much because Firebat just got super lucky in a lot of the games. And I know Hearthstone is very much about luck, but I think the last game specifically was just disgusting to watch. It's like, okay, Tiddler Celestial has a taunt up. The great card to draw right now would be, well, Black Knight. Bam! He draws Black Knight. Next turn, very next turn. So the taunt is gone. What could we use to kill the opposing player? Maybe Savage Roar, along with Force of Nature that we've already got in our hand? What do you know? Picked up Savage Roar the very next turn. Game over. It was a little frustrating to watch. I mean, I could feel Tiddler Celestial's frustration. He handled it really well. He handled it like a champ. And kudos to Firebat for playing as well as he did, because he did play well. I mean, the dude won the Hearthstone World Championship. He won it. So that was impressive. We watched that. The atmosphere and the stage and all that stuff, the shoutcasting obviously as well, so good. Amazing. Great. And it makes me think that I need to get to more fireside gatherings and tournaments and stuff like that, because I loved it. It was so nice to be a part of, and hey, maybe one day I'll shoutcast one of them, one day I'll go to another one of them and actually maybe compete or something. I don't know, I want to be around people like that and places like that more often, because hey, it's my kind of thing, my kind of shindig. Then, I'm not sure when exactly this was, but I also watched the first game of the Heroes of the Storm Grand Finals. It's between Cloud9 and EG, if I'm not mistaken. It was kind of fun. Shoutcasting was really good. The games were interesting to watch. We got front row seats, which was really cool. The stage was nice, nicely laid out. I enjoyed that as well. I think just before that was actually the World of Warcraft finals too, which we watched and I didn't understand. I have very little to say about the World of Warcraft finals. It's basically you just sitting there watching a couple of health bars go up and down and up and down and up and down the whole time, and that's it. I don't understand the other stuff that's happening. I don't. The improved UI that Blizzard set up for the World of Warcraft Arena Championships or whatever, that was great. I could see more of the details, but at the same time it didn't mean much to me because I still didn't understand the details I was seeing. So there you go. We watched that. I also walked around with Strippin, Duncan, Shin, and Sips a little bit, and we found our way to the StarCraft stage to watch... Was it the semi-finals? The StarCraft was very delayed, so I didn't get to see the finals. The finals actually happened during the closing ceremony. That's how late it was. And I'll tell you why in a little bit, because that's going to come up now. we watched the semifinals. Was Life versus, was it Tasia? I can't remember. Life won. It was really cool to see the layout that they used to display all the information and stuff. Like, they had one huge monitor in the middle with the observer's point of view, then they had a monitor on the side, big again, with the one player on the other side, the other player, and the whole stage was set up like, if it was a Terran player, their side looked like Terran stuff. If it was a Zerg, their side looked like Zerg stuff. And then when the Zerg won, it all like creeped over to that side. Oh, it was great. It was really, really cool. Probably the most impressive stage of the lot. After that, I had to leave because I had another interview or Q&A. The ones that I did, I actually made a note here. The ones that I did were Hearthstone and Heroes interviews and Hearthstone and WoW panels, like Q&As. The Q&As had more than one person in. Heroes one had like 5 to 6 people in, I think. 5 to 6, that's very specific. And the WoW one had maybe 15. Apparently, a lot of the people that were meant to come to these Q&As just didn't show up. Like, for instance, the WoW one was meant to have 50 people in. They just didn't bother showing up. That seemed to be the theme of BlizzCon this time around, because I was marching around a lot with Sam, Mirko, and Mathilde from the European community team, and I constantly heard them talking about how they lost this guy, or how this guy's fallen off the radar, or whatever, you know, the stresses of their own jobs, because they all had their own responsibilities there, and I kind of felt for them. It's difficult dealing with so many people, and it seemed like a lot of people just didn't end up showing up where they needed to be, where they were meant to be, or they said they wanted to be. But I had those Q&As and interviews throughout the day. I'm not going to say much more about them. I will be uploading them at some point if they end up looking okay. There was another power cut, a power outage during this, and it happened in one of the Q&As that we were doing. The whole building and so it's the whole convention center and the surrounding hotels, like the whole region we were in, lost power for a couple of seconds. And it was actually kind of scary because it went completely dark in there. The room that we were in didn't have any windows or whatever, so, you know, when the lights went out, we couldn't see anything. And because of that, the StarCraft finals and a couple of the other tournament games that were going on were delayed a little bit. StarCraft one's more so than the others. Much more so. But after all of that, I think after I left the press room, probably around lunchtime, I met Krindor and Toaster Woman, and I spoke to them a little bit again. Was kind of nice. Then, directly after that, I also met Husky and Rosanna Panasino, and that was weird because Husky's like super tall and Rosanna is really short. They were also just incredibly nice. Husky knew who I was, Rosanna not so much, and we just spoke a little bit about how the convention was going, what they were doing there. It was a slightly more fun-filled time for them because Husky was not shoutcasting or anything like that, so they could do the stuff they wanted to do, play games, socialize, whatever. I was a little bit jealous, but at the same time, not really. I also met or saw Jesse Cox again with his whole crew, which was a lot of people, a lot of much more famous than me people. Then we got to play a little bit more Overwatch, which was incredibly nice. And again, I apologize for looking down at my phone the whole time because that's where the notes are. And while playing, we also got to speak to the devs because there was even more devs this time around. Saturday, they just like packed the devs in there. I think there was always at least 2. One on each side of the line of PCs that we played on. And they were just walking up and down, watching people play, giving them hints and tips, much like on the first day. But I spent more time talking to them on the second day. And there was also this weird strat that Jesse and Krendor and their team came up with called the 4 Bastion strat that was apparently dominating people for a little while. They played a lot of games, like a lot of games, I think 15 to 20 games, and they came up with this strategy where they pick 4 Bastions on their team and then one other character, probably a healer or something. Then they set these Bastions up in turret mode around the rooms with the objectives in, and then they just like own anyone that comes in there. Because in turret mode the damage is increased, but they can't move. Then it was kind of cool seeing the devs whisper into the ears of the people on the other side, on the opposing team, telling them, hey, if you pick something like Winston, you can easily get behind them with his leap and just tear them to shreds. Oh, or if you pick, say, Farah with her rockets, you can launch up above and shoot a few rockets in there and then drop down before they can shoot you out of the sky. Or if you take someone like Tracer, you can also easily just get behind them, toss a bomb on them, or whatever, you know. They basically gave them the hints and tips they needed to defeat this strategy, and it worked. It worked. The players listened, which is something that players don't always do, and they won. They defeated the 4 Bastion trap, but it was great. It apparently was a pretty scary thing while it lasted. Pretty scary. I'm going to mention one more thing about the interviews and the panels, that they went reasonably well. I thought they went well, and that's it. I'm done talking about the interviews and the panels. Then, I played more Hearthstone Goblins vs. Gnomes on the iPad, which was super cool. And I also tried Heroes of the Storm out. Played with Thrall a little bit, and the Lost Vikings a little bit. It was interesting to see how different the Lost Vikings hero worked. Really interesting, with the abilities being selected differently. Like, you don't start off with all the abilities, and you pick them differently as you level. I don't know. You know, it's cool that they do stuff like that, but it's going to be confusing if you come from all the other heroes being exactly the same. It was fun, though, and the new map was really cool. It was, once again, just a mix of 2 of the previous maps, of the other maps, but I think they've done all the mixing they can do, and from this point on, they might have to do something completely different. Then, as the day went on, I actually had an interview. I had myself interviewed by Josh. Is his name Rocket? Not entirely sure. I just know him as Josh. He's the super enthusiastic, on the verge of being bouncy guy from Blizzard, who they always have on the floor interviewing people and stuff. That was exciting. It was really exciting and a little bit nerve-wracking being interviewed by him. They just kind of pulled us into one of the side rooms with their camera crew. There was a whole crew of them, and they said they wanted to interview me. I said, listen, let's make it a double, and I said that we can include Helen Lowry. I'm struggling again to say the name, sorry, in it, and then we did that. So I sat on the one side, she sat on the other side, he sat between us, he asked us some questions, where we were from, how we were enjoying the show, how long it took us to get there, and, you know, what our favorite stuff was. You'll probably see that on one of the official Blizzard channels. I'm not sure where or when, but it was a lot of fun, and it was like a great honor to be interviewed for one of the official Blizzard channels. But him, Josh, and his team of guys, they were great. They were a lot of fun, and the interview itself was also really cool. I might have looked super nervous on it because I kind of was. But after all of this, the day after it was done, and this one, while it did feel like a super long day, it went by a little quicker because I didn't really have that much time to just wander around or do things. After it was a little later, I think around 8:30, we decided that the European group of us, we would go out for drinks to celebrate the end of BlizzCon, and it was a little foolish going when we did, because what happened was we went for drinks at the Hilton, which was really nice. Okay, it was, again, hustling and bustling there. We had a nice conversation. I had something I can't even remember. I don't drink very much, so, like, I had a beer, and I don't even remember what the name was. It might have been a Corona Light or something. Is that even a beer? Does that exist? Is that something that is out there? Because that's probably what it was, if it's a thing. But we did that. A couple of us. 5 to 10. I say 5 to 10 because some came, some left, some came, some left. And then, after that, we tried to go back to the convention center, and everything was just gone. Like, we came in the door, and there was nothing there. Like, the chairs and PCs were already being packed up. The stages were being dismantled. All the lights were on. All the fancy flashy lights were off. And the second we set foot in the convention center, we were asked to leave. So I kind of missed out on a lot of things I wanted to do during BlizzCon, just because I didn't manage my time that well. But it ended up being worth it. You know, we had a really good time regardless throughout. I didn't get to play Legacy of the Void, which is something I wanted to do. I did also not to get to see the Warcraft movie trailer, which is something I actually regret a little bit, but I think we'll probably see it on YouTube or whatever at some point when it's a complete trailer. Everyone told me it was life-changingly, amazingly good, so I'm a little sad that I missed it, but again, not the end of the world because I'm sure I'll see it at some point. It was also apparently in a theater, in a cinema room that had really, really good speakers. That was a highlight. You had to go up to the 3rd floor for that, and it played every half an hour. It just kept looping, basically, along with all the other Blizzard cinematics. So I kind of regret not seeing that, but at the same time, I don't think it's that big a deal. Or at least I don't think it was that big a deal. After all of this was done, I spoke to, closer to the end of the day, a couple of people who said the Twitch TV party was happening. Then I sort of considered trying to sneak my way in there, but I just didn't because I was exhausted. You know, I was talking all day long, running around all day long, and it was already a bit late. And I do also kind of regret's probably not the right word. I mean, I think I should have gone just because a lot of big names ended up being there, and there's a couple of people that I wanted to meet. I wanted to meet Mike Morhaime just because I want to be able to say I spoke a couple of words with him. He was apparently there, and it looked like people had fun at the Twitch party, so I'm sad that I didn't go. I mean, I'm not much of a Twitch streamer myself, as you guys may or may not know, but it could have been fun regardless. And a bunch of people throughout the day said to me that they could easily get me in. It's not a big thing. It's fine. So I should have gone, but I didn't. And I ended up going to bed and kind of trying to get some sleep because the previous night I got very little sleep, as I mentioned. And with all the walking and all the work that I was doing, I was just pooped. But day 2 of BlizzCon, my 3rd day there, was great. Again, the big highlight, the people. I'll say this probably after every single video that I record. People that I spoke to, the people that I met, the new faces, the old faces, all the faces. They were amazing, and they made my time there amazing. I had fun. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Feel free to check back here soon for the last one. That's going to be about day 4. My return trip. Probably going to be a little bit shorter than the previous ones because there wasn't as much to talk about. But there you go. Check back here soon for that. Give it a like, share it, and do all that other good stuff. Again, I apologize if I missed some stuff because a lot happened and I didn't end up making notes about all of it. So I probably forgot some of the happenings. Probably. But on the second day, I think the summary would be I ended up spending less time down on the show floor and more time up between press rooms and stuff. But it was still great. Happy that.